Hi my beautiful kids divas, it is your girl Traycee, and I am starting my inventory for makeup. Now it may sound crazy to some of you guys, but I did this, I'm going to say last year or the year before last, so I'm going to dig for that video and that notebook so I can see where my numbers were back then. Now the goal of a makeup inventory is just exactly that, to see what you have up. Now I have made some personal goals like that, and some categories I'm still trying to figure out what the best number is, but my goal has been to downsize, which you guys have watched me do. Like last year I waited to the very end of the year and I treated myself to some wonderful products, but I stopped all of that shopping. I stopped a lot of the companies from sending me a lot of the makeup. My channel is more geared towards hair and I want to keep it that way. I will be starting makeup videos, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do the inventory, so you guys will know what I have, and that way you guys can request tutorials on different things. But my channel will not be a series of makeup hauls. When I treat myself, like the next time I treat myself will probably be for my birthday. I will definitely share with you guys, but not like what I was doing before. I think 90% of my makeup videos were hauls. So I'm not doing that anymore. Like, that's over. But I wanted to do a makeup inventory to know what I have, so I can say, okay Traycee, for 2017 I will not be purchasing any more of this. To say, okay, I want to downsize some more. Some of my sections like foundation, concealer, I've done so good in, but there's other areas where I definitely need some work. So I'm going to start this series off with my eye palette, so I do hope that you enjoy. Okay, so I hope this angle works because this is all new to me. But what I'm going to start off with is my Lorac palettes, because hands down I think Lorac is my favorite. The first one is the Lorac Gold. It's so pretty. It has only a few mattes, but it is just a really pretty palette. This is one of my declutter remorses, so it doesn't have a lot of wear in it because I got rid of this and I end up replacing it because that's how much I love this palette. The next Lorac palette, and I'm trying to go through this fast so it won't be a long video, is the Lorac Pro. As you can see, have seen a lot of love. I think this is my oldest palette in my collection, so I have been trying to use it a lot more here recently, but I do plan on repurchasing this palette once I use a few more of the shadows. The next one is the Lorac Pro. This is Lorac too. Is a lot cooler. I love this palette. It is so pretty. I love this blue. This plum is absolutely gorgeous, and cocoa makes a beautiful smoky eye, believe it or not. Mocha is really pretty too. Oh, and rose. I use rose a lot. And then this next one is my newer Lorac Pro, which I don't show any love to, which I need to. This is a really good office or everyday palette. It is very, very soft. It does have a black and a truffle right here to deepen up the colors, but overall it is a very cool and very soft palette. Next Lorac Pros are my megas, and the first one is the Lorac Pro. You can't really find this anywhere, the limited edition, but this particular one is was very hard to get and very, very, very hard to find even to this day. And if you do find it, they're charging so much for it. It's a very warm palette. I love this so much, and I do plan on using this so much more in 2017. The next one is the Mega Pro 2. This one they actually re-promoted during Christmas time, so you may be able to find this one right now. This is the cooler one. You can create so many looks with these palettes. I love the blue in this palette. I love that it has this forest green, this tangerine and melon and I think in this goji, I really believe I'm gonna hit pan in it soon. It's just, and you got the purples and olive, a gold leaf. Like, it is just a beautiful palette. But out of all of these, the last one, this Lorac 3, which is already looks like crap because I've been using it. Mega 3 is by far my favorite. So if you can still get this at Ulta online, go get it. If you don't own any of them but this one, this is the one you want. It is a warm palette. It does have some cool shadows in it, but it is a rosy palette, like a rose gold. It just has a beautiful rust, rose cortex, a pomegranate that's to die for. It has this beautiful silvers, a deep silver which is called Deep Fauve, and then a regular silver that's Glacier. And eggplant, I use the crap out of eggplant. It is so pretty. I love this palette. Beverly just stole my heart. It is just so pretty. So definitely my favorite out of the Pro palettes. Let's move to Too Faced. The first one is the Too Faced Peanut Butter palette. I love this palette. It is such a beautiful palette. It smells like peanut butter. Yeah, I smelled it. And this is what it looks like. I travel with this palette too because it's so easy to create a look with this from day to night. So I like using the Rich Creamy as a highlight on my eyes and on my face. I just love this palette, definitely. And this is another re-promote. So if you go on the Too Faced, well, at least during Christmas time, they had this palette on their website again. Okay, so if you miss it, you can still get it. The next palette is this Too Faced Peach palette. I went through hell and high water for this palette and don't ever use it. First of all, I love the cocoa smell. I love the peanut butter smell. And I can't say I don't like this smell, but it does irritate me after a while. It is such a warm, fallish palette. I'm not even a green person, but the green in this, bless heart. I keep saying I'm not a green person, but I've been really leaning towards green lately. I just would have loved to see more peachy tones in this palette, but it is a very pretty, gorgeous palette. Too Faced chocolate bar palette. This is a semi chocolate. I love this palette. If you cannot tell by the amount of usage I have, like these three shadows I'm about to hit pan in. I've hit pan in this one. This one has a serious dip in it, and so does buttercream. I love using butter pecan also on the eyes. I love this palette. It's just such a beautiful palette, especially if you're a neutral girl. I actually like the semi chocolate palette better than the original one. Now the Violet Voss, these are pretty new purchases. I've only used this Drench palette metal once, and I can't say that it was anything different from any other palette. You had your warm, your cool colors, your warm colors, your purples, and this one right here is just so pretty, this teal green, and it's all shimmer. So it's definitely a palette that you would have to use in conjunction with something else. Now this palette right here, they named it perfect, and it is called the Holy Grail. This palette is everything, and I've been using it so much since I got it. It kind of reminds me a lot of the Modern Renaissance palette. It reminds me of the Huda Rose Gold palette. It's just has the reds in it. It's got the golds in it. It has a beautiful transition color for brown skin. This is another good transition color, and it's called Transition. This pretty warm peanut butter type brown, orange brown, is called Hashtag. The names of this are super cute. Okay, another palette that I've had forever, and I don't understand why I have not hit pan on it for the amount of that I use it, but they are matte shadows, and you know matte shadows are harder to use up. But if you look carefully, you can see in this area right here, they have serious dents in it. Some people hated this palette. This is a full exposure palette. I loved it. Like, I loved it so much, like so much. And I would do an all matte eye, especially when we go out of town, and then I would come over it with just my finger and give it that pop of shimmer that's not too much shimmer, but it takes a daytime look to a nighttime look. I love this palette. I always get compliments on no matter what eye look I do from this palette. Okay, where are we at? Let's do Anastasia. The next one, let me make sure my hands are wiped off, is the Modern Renaissance. I'm wearing this palette today. This palette is everything. It has that red, them red warm shadows in it, like that Holy Grail palette. Do I really need to say more about this palette? Do I really need to say more about this palette? It's just so pretty. It's just, look at this right in here. Then you've got these beautiful transition colors and these beautiful lid colors and highlight colors, and it's just, I love it. I love this palette. Next is the Master Mario palette. This is a beautiful everyday palette, and this palette did not impress me in person. It wasn't until I swatched her, and these beautiful warm jewel tone shadows just stole my heart away. It has a beautiful soft silky blend to it. The next one is the Anastasia and Breezy palette. This also is is a pretty old palette for my collection. I love this palette. I love these two colors is the whole reason why I bought this palette. And I use this palette in conjunction with other palettes for these two colors right here. And it is Caramel and Morocco, and this warms up any eye look. They are two Urban Decay. The next one is this Urban Decay Naked Ultimate Basics. I love the packaging on this as far as the way it looks. The quality of the actual packaging, they could have did just a little bit better. It has a huge mirror in it, but what I love most of all is these colors. Look at these colors. This is an all matte palette. I use this palette all by itself to create a look because I'm a matte girl. I wear some shimmer, but overall I'm a matte girl. I use it by itself, or I use it a lot of time with conjunction with palettes. Like your palettes that have all shimmer shadows, I'll reach for this because it has everything. It has your warm mattes, it has your cool mattes. It's everything. Next one that I wanted to talk about was my Full Spectrum palette. I love this palette, you guys. It's beautiful. Let me see if I can, even though I can't open it with one hand. Here we go. I only have really two colored palettes right now, and they're both by Urban Decay. I love the pigmentation of their shadows. They have really cool, just really bomb shadows, especially if you want to do a fun or nighttime look. It's just, I mean, you can do a daytime look. It's just a really nice palette to have, because if you haven't noticed, my collection is 98%, 99% neutral, so having a couple of palettes that have color in it is good. Even though I don't wear it often, when I do want to wear it, I'm coming hard with it. This palette right now, I think it was replaced by the After Dark palette. It is being discontinued is what I believe, but it's dirt cheap right now. So I love this palette so much. It is a very bright, very pigmented palette. The next one is another Urban Decay colored palette. This is my go-to night palette. I love these new shadows that all the companies are making, like the textured shadows, the moon dust Urban Decay has, because I love glitter looks, but I don't always like the mess of glitter, especially if you're rushing to go out. And if you look at these, let me pick one. And I love using these as a topper on top of shadow. But if you look at these, it gives you that glitter look. You see that without, wait. Gives you that glitter look without the messy glitter, which I love. Okay, next, Huda. This palette is my first Huda eyeshadow palette. I don't even know if they have more. It is their textured rose gold edition. I saw this first in Sephora. I was in Sephora doing their friends and family sale, and this was sitting on the counter, and I was like, oh my god, what is this? And they didn't even have it in stock yet. And I was like, I want this, I want this. If you can't get this, or you want a cheaper version, what I would suggest is the Holy Grail palette that I showed earlier. It has some beautiful mattes in it, then it's got these beautiful textured shadows. And to me, these textured shadows is what makes the palette. It has the red shadows that are really popular right now. It's just gorgeous. Like, look at this 24 karat. And it's creamy, and I like to, well, the direction says apply it with your fingers. I do apply with my fingers, and if I know I'm gonna be out, you know, if I really want an intense look, I use a glitter glue. Yes, a glitter glue, and it works wonderful. So I love that. Next are my Tarte palette. This is a Tarte lip palette. Eventually, I do want to treat myself to the Tarte Bloom palette. It's just got my name written all over it, but this is the matte one. You guys know I love some mattes, and I love this palette. I love how this has the cool tone with the purples. I love how this is warm, and you got the cool, it's matte. I don't think I need to say more. The next palette is this Tarte Pro. There was so much controversy about this palette, and people giving bad reviews that I didn't think that it deserved. A lot of people were upset about the I think it was Bor, the YouTuber's guide, and yeah, you know, it makes you believe that it could be, I mean, bot opinions. I'll be 100% with you. You can buy some YouTubers. It's sad, but it's true. But I like this palette. It is a good palette, and my behind paid for this palette in cash, and I ain't going to no Bor. I ain't got those kind of numbers for them to even pay attention to me. So I have no reason to lie. This is a good palette, and it makes me do a side eye to anyone that gives this palette a bad review. The mattes work beautiful. I love these colors, and for me, that is an intense matte wear. This got my name all over it. But then it's got these beautiful creamy shadows that you can top with and give if you want a satin look. It's just a beautiful palette. I did have some issues with my palette when it was delivered. It came broken. This one and this one came broken. I ordered it from actual Tarte, and I wish I would have waited for Sephora because they had it poorly packaged. And I did try to repot these two, but it looks like the black still wants to break up. So I'm gonna try to repot it again. If not, I'm just gonna take the black out of it because I don't use black liner like that. But here you go. I love this palette. Okay, we're getting to the end. The next palette I guess we'll do is Kat Von D. And you know, I'm so suspicious of Kat Von D now. The other palette, and I got rid of it. That was one of the ones I decluttered, the Shade and Light palette. And then I did some research on it here recently, and a lot of the palettes were named, a lot of the colors in that palette was named after demons. And it's like, I just want to wear makeup. I don't want any of that extra stuff. Can we just give the eyeshadows normal names? All of us aren't into that, okay? Some of us believe in Christ. And I cannot tell you how much I love this palette. Like, this palette is not going anywhere. It is, look at all these matte shadows. Like, oh, I hope the trend for matte stay in forever, because I've always been a matte girl, and that's something that I always struggled with, was finding matte eyeshadows, but not no more, because it's the thing to have matte shadows now. Gorgeous. And then you got these mixture of satin shimmer and like textured type of metal shadows up here. It is just a gorgeous palette. I love it. It's huge. It's so much makeup in this. And this blue, this green is the prettiest green I've ever had in a palette. It comes on your skin exactly what it looks like right there. This green is everything, because I don't have this green in any palette that I have. It is, here we go, wait. It is so original. Like, do you see that green? Oh, and look at this blue. Same thing with this blue. Like, I have some navy shadows, and when you swatch it, it's sheer, or you put it on, it's no longer navy. Not these bad boys. These bad boys are, look at that. Oh, pigmented. Look at that. Oh, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. This next one is by Colored Rain. It is their Queen of Hearts. They did come out with shadows. I never got their single shadows, but they came out with this palette during Black Friday, and I didn't get it because I don't shop for beauty stuff during Black Friday. But a couple of days later, I went ahead and purchased it. Oh no, I can't get it out of this thing. And I'm so happy I did. There we go. And I keep it in the sleeve because it's just so darn pretty, isn't that? But when you open it up, it's plain and black like this. And here is a shadow. It does have the reds in it. It has leans more purple to me, but it does have the reds in it. You got 6 matte shadows in this, and then these pretty, very textured, jewel-like colors. I feel like when I use this palette, I always get the most prettiest romantic look. It's always a romantic look. This palette, you can do softer looks, you can do more deep, fierce looks, but they always turn out very romantic to me. Next is this MAC Shadow palette. This was a exclusive palette for Nordstrom's. It's an all matte palette, which you know MAC never does. So when I saw an all matte palette from MAC, I was all over it. Yes, love it. And last but not least is this palette right here. It is a Viz Art palette. This has to be the best formula that I have ever used. I mean, if you are a makeup beginner, this does the work for you. It is so easy to blend these shadows. I want more of these, but this palette was $80. That's all of my eyeshadow palettes. Let me see how many I have so I can write this down. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So I am so over my goal for eyeshadow palettes. My goal was to not own more than 20. So that sounds a lot to more, but for me 20 is good considering I used to own about 100 eyeshadow palettes. So I definitely have some downsizing to do this year. There are a couple of palettes that I want to pan and use up. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video.